So let's investigate this concept of beat frequencies. A beat frequency is an interference pattern that plays out over time, and the beats are the changes in amplitude because the two sounds are very close in frequency but not quite the same. So sometimes they're going to overlay so that the crests and the troughs line up and we get constructive interference, and that increases the amplitude of the sound that we hear. But because one's slightly different frequency, they're going to slip a little bit. And so a little bit later on in time, we're going to find a place where they are lining up in a destructive interference, where the crests are lining up with the troughs of the other one, and so they're going to cancel each other out. So to have a look at this, I've got one of my favorite apps. This is Firefox looking at the amplitude recorder, and it's measuring the amplitude of a sound over time. And if we play the piano, we can see a really nice kind of steady decline in the amplitude of that note, and we get a similar kind of thing when we play the guitar. And that sound decays nicely. But the guitar and the piano aren't quite in tune. They're very nearly in tune. And so this is what happens when we play them over top of each other. And I'll just clear the history so we can kind of see it from the start. And you can see it there, that variation in amplitude is the beat frequency between the frequency of this note, which is slightly different to the frequency of that note. By the way, if you're tuning two instruments together, what you're listening for is for that beat frequency to be as long as possible until you can't really notice the change in amplitude. And the faster it is, the further out of tune the two instruments are. So let's apply all that to this particular question here, and you can see from the formula and data sheet that the frequency at which the beat appears, so from going from a minimum to a maximum and back to a minimum again, is simply the difference in the two frequencies. So here's one of the minimums, here's the other minimum. We can extrapolate that down to the graph and realize that it's about a second that it takes between the two of them, and so there is a 1 second difference in their frequencies. If you find this kind of thing helpful, over here there's a whole database of these kind of questions searchable by Science Extension, Investigating Science and Physics, and by module. And if you're a teacher looking for really good quality trial exams and course exams, then they can be found here.